Intrade.com, an electronic exchange offering contracts on practically everything, from politics to market events, has seen its contract for the Republicans to keep control of the Senate and House rally over the last few weeks. Joining me with details on that and some of the other contracts is Michael Kinsevich. Michael, I'm sorry, I already screwed up your last name. He's Director of Communications at Intrade. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
First, you say your political volume is up markedly over last year, but first let's start with how this works, exactly how these contracts function.
Intrade is a trading exchange for politics, current events, and financials. And we offer these unique contracts to the marketplace so they can have more information on what people think about these very important indicators that affect the stock market.
So does it trade like a regular option or futures contract?
Absolutely does. It trades like a stock. For example, we list a binary contract on the GOP to control the House in 06. The contract trades between 0 and 100. If the GOP does retain the House, the contract will close at 100. If they don't, it'll close at 0. And because it's on a scale of 0 to 100, you could think of it as a percentage probability that that outcome will occur.
Okay, so let's take a look at the chart on the GOP House control contract, which is our first one. And you said that the political contracts are up. What did you say, 80% from last year?
Our volume in politics is up over 80% over this time in 2004 going into the general election. And we're, 6-7 months away before the real lifting starts in midterms.
So looking at this chart, what does this tell you?
We can see that during the summer, President Bush's poll numbers were down. He was taking a hit from his being in Iraq. And when he took the offensive and came back to explain why we have to be in Iraq and why we have to stay there, as well as the NSA wiretapping. He came out and made that case. You can see the market started to rally in the last 2 months.
Okay, what about GOP Senate control? That contract shows a very interesting and markedly different performance.
Yes, absolutely. My source at Real Clear Politics, John McIntyre, explains that to say, the GOP to win the Senate is almost a lock. To win the House, the Democrats need 15 seats, so that's more likely than any change in the Senate.
There's been a lot of talk about who the nominees will be in 08, and we're going to segue from politics in a minute to more of market stuff, but let's take a look at some of the front runners, and Hillary Rodham Clinton is one name that's being bandied about. So you have a Clinton nomination contract. What does that tell you about her chances, according to the people who are trading these contracts?
The market seems to indicate that Hillary is definitely the front runner. The weakness in the last few weeks is probably attributed to her comment on the plantation comment she made a few weeks ago. So you can see a direct impact with what the candidate said and what the markets are interpreting. And another reason, if you're a political strategist, you have to be looking at the Intrade political contracts.
Because it gives you a sense of where the masses are going.
Absolutely.
The Warner nomination contract shows some volatility.
Absolutely.
That wasn't there in some of the previous ones, especially on the far right-hand side of the contract.
Yes, you could see that spike, that rally, was directly related to his ability to get his lieutenant governor elected. Remember, this is a Democratic candidate in a red state, and the last two Democratic candidates, Democratic governors in red states, were Jimmy Carter and Bill Clinton.
All right. Now, Mark Warner's nomination probability, it rallied very sharply in the latter part of that. Now, in terms of, that's politics, but you also handicap current events. And I think perhaps from a market standpoint, the highest profile are the Ken Lay, Jeff Skilling Enron trial results that are going on right now. Now, the jury's been seated, and we're hearing more from testimony, which I would assume would increase volatility in some of those contracts.
Absolutely right. The
so what are they saying to you? What are these contracts saying?
We can't see anything yet, but certainly you're right about that. The volatility is going to be very high until we get some more information coming out of the courtroom. And once you get that information, the markets will start to trend and give you a very strong indication of where the leanings are.
Fascinating. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here. Say your last name for me.
Kinsevich.
Thank you, Mike. Director of Communications at Intrade. We'll have you back after the trial results and after the election results. And look at me, I'm spreading my papers all over here.
All over the place.
Thanks,
there.
Michael.
Yeah.